Are you ready? Hey! Are you ready? Are you ready for the
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It's interesting that's always their introduction because their technology and everything is just more progressive than it is right now in modern times. Today I'm talking a little bit about Star Wars, one of my favorite franchises of all time. I was introduced as a child. My mom introduced me to it. I immediately fell in love. I loved the space opera. I loved the fight between light and dark. I can relate to a lot of these characters. Of course, a lot of the fans don't show a lot of love for Star Wars. They just, nitpick. It's like a real battle between the light and dark when it comes to the love of Star Wars. You can't even openly say it without people in your ear. I love Star Wars. I hate Star Wars. You're an idiot for loving it. Well, one of the things I've always loved about Star Wars is like George Lucas subliminally showed you great progression when it comes to not judging anybody by their race, culture, gender, all that. Everybody was just living in harmony on each planet. Alien, robot, humanoid. But a lot of the prejudice when it comes to the species or races are never really an issue. Everything is just like normal. Which gets to my point a little bit. As big as this universe is, there's probably like 5 black people. Isn't that interesting? Black people might be endangered species in the Star Wars universe. It might be like the Yoda species where we barely see. But the interesting thing though, of seeing not a lot of black people in this universe, is when you do eventually run into a black person in the Star Wars universe, they're like the coolest characters ever. So I think we could forgive them. And I'm not talking about this guy. Forgot what his name was from the prequels, but he was a forgettable character. I'm talking about like the coolest people ever that you would just love to hang out with in the Star Wars universe and in our universe. Even Anakin was a crazy bland character, complained about sand and whatnot, until he turned into James Earl Jones, and then finally the man got soul. Forrest Whitaker and his lazy eye was in the Rogue One movie, and even though it was brief, we were like, oh shit, it's Forrest Whitaker, and he was running shit. He had like a little Jabba's palace looking area where he was ready to kill some people off for testing him. He was living that gangsta thug life before he died. May he rest in peace. And his name is Saul Goria. I think that's how you say his name. Guerrera? I don't know. He's the one that trained Jyn also as well, saving her life after the mother died and the father was kidnapped. And yeah, he trained a very tough chick. Next on my list of some of the coolest black characters in Star Wars is Moff Gideon. He's a fairly new character that we learn about in the Mandalorian series. After the Empire fell, he made his little spin-off army and started doing his thing, causing hell throughout the galaxies. We don't know what his purpose is in the Mandalorian. We know he wants the child, aka Baby Yoda. He probably knows about the Force, but the interesting thing about him is he has the black saber. So that's real black power right there. Not only are you black, leading shit, you got the black saber. A lot of people don't know much about the black saber. I know it's a Mandalorian weapon from a old Mandalorian Jedi. Talk about breaking badass. Speaking of the Mandalorian, one of my favorite characters on that show, played by Carl Weathers. You know him from the Rocky franchise. Apollo Creed! His name on the show is Grief Karga. I never knew that. I just kept calling him Carl Weathers. Anyways, he's another boss that's running some type of bounty hunter organization. He gets the bounties and he sells them and makes a little bit of profit on the side. You can't knock this man's hustle. This man is a pimp. He's pimping out Mando. Go get these bodies and I'll pay you and I'll get a little bit on the side right there, I think he's a dope character, seriously. Only thing that's not cool about him though is he's a sellout, ready to sell out Mando, which brings me to my next character. I don't like how they're making the black characters look like snitches. Billy D. Williams, Mr. Colt 45, yes. Everybody, as soon as I didn't grow up in the 70s or 80s, so I don't know Billy D. Williams like my mother or your mother might know him.
Nobody has my swagger.
Smooth talker with the ladies. We saw a little bit of that when he met Princess Leia. He was already trying to take her from Han, but yeah, he is the coolest guy. Not only is he a boss, but he's running Cloud City. Very progressive, Jetsons looking area in the galaxy, and I've always liked him, even though he did sell out Han like a punk bitch. He really did that. But we forgive him. We understand why he did it. But he did snitch. He did sell out, but he did make it up within years to come, fighting for the right side. And we got to see him again. That's awesome. He's technically from the original cast. Him and Chewie and the androids are the ones that are still alive, which is kind of sad. I would have really loved to seen a scene with Han, Leia, Luke, Lando. That would have been a great moment, but it never happened, obviously. We had deaths on screen, deaths in real life, but, one can dream in their own canon. And this guy right here, I would love to meet in real life. John Boyega, man. He's been sort of like a activist lately.
Black lives have always mattered. We have always been important. We have always meant something. We have always succeeded, regardless. And now is the time. I ain't waiting.
And he's been really vocal about the mistreatment of how Disney has been doing him. But as his character goes, Finn, I love that character. And I actually think he did get screwed over a little bit because, like, who does not want to see a stormtrooper go rogue and possibly, as they were hinting at it, possibly have force powers? They dropped the ball on that. That was amazing premise that they didn't even go through. I don't understand why. I don't understand why.
Why?
With that being said, he seems like a really loyal, good friend. He's obviously got a great personality, and he's one of my favorite characters. Just a dope person that you would love to have a drink with at the canteen. Of course, the most badass Jedi of all time, Mr. Mace Windu, played by Samuel L. Jackson, We got to see Mace Windu with his Kool-Aid purple lightsaber kicking some ass. And it was amazing. He and he cut off Django's head, which is awesome. He wanted to cut off the other Django's head in the movie Django Unchained, but he didn't quite do that. But he let the record show Samuel L. Jackson is not a fan of Django's. One of the coolest Jedis of all time. And he's been hinting that he wants to come back to the franchise. He hints that, you know, of course, Jedis can fall from certain heights and still survive, but I think it's safe to say he's probably dead. But in the prequels, he was one of the best things about it. I feel like Mace Windu and Obi-Wan Kenobi were the best parts of the prequels. And of course the Yoda stuff too. People sleep on some of that Yoda choreography. It was really groundbreaking for that time. But yes, I would like to publicly thank Star Wars for making up a lack of black people in their franchise by giving us some of the coolest black people of all time on screen. Who's a black person you would like to see in the Star Wars universe? I would love to see Denzel Washington as a Jedi. Michael B. Jordan as a Jedi? What about Will Smith as a Sith Lord? That'd be weird. Let me know in the comments, man. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's weird that there's not a lot of black people in the Star Wars universe, as diverse as it is with weird aliens such as Jabba the Hutt? Or do you think that it's okay because they are the coolest black people on the planet?
Help keep your brother out the streets. Subscribe to my dad's YouTube channel. Love, peace, and chicken.